Hello and welcome back to my home workshop. Not in the garage today, not enough time to get out there and back. As you may be able to see through the window, actually it's not too bad now, but it's been raining and pouring, it's been hailing out there today, so not got it outside to do any welding or drilling done on the adapter plate for the new motor for the Z300. But I have been tinkering around this weekend, working on a couple of things. We're working on the centre console for the Z300, so modifying that to take a double-din head unit and to take my modified heater controllers. And I've also been working on the battery box. I did a video on the battery box a few weeks ago and didn't really get anywhere beyond that. I made the frame, showed all that. I'll put a link to the video in here. But not made any progress since then, not done another video on it. So I thought I'd show you where I'm at, because it's still front of mind. It's still a critical bit of the upgrade to the Z300. It'll go in alongside the new motor and save some weight, save some space, allow me to make the whole under engine bay space a lot tidier. But there's a lot of work to do, particularly because as part of putting the battery box in, the new battery box in, I'm getting the system ready for a second battery box to double my range, which will be going at some point down the line. So today's video, only a short one, not going to be making anything, just showing you where my thinking's at in terms of that. You get a bit of a tour of the battery box and the modules I'm using, and really just laying out plans for next steps, and a bit of a think piece for me as well. I'm not entirely sure which way I'm going with this. So watch, hopefully enjoy. So what you can see here is the 5 modules from my BMW 330e hybrid pack, or one of my BMW 330e hybrid packs, inside the battery box. They're lying on their sides. General discussion in the forums says that this is fine. A few people have got them running like this with absolutely no temperature issues, so I'm going to work on the basis that I will also be fine. And what you can see is that there's slightly variable spacing between them. These aren't perfectly laid out at the moment. And you can see that, probably see if you zoom in there, but plus, minus, plus, minus, plus. So they alternate. So you've got a couple of pairs here, which can have short connections going between them. I'll show you the OEM cables in a second. If you can see that there, these are the high voltage connections in here. And you can see that one of the things I like about these modules is that they're well shielded. You'd have to really jam your finger in if you wanted to touch one of those, which makes them relatively safe to work with. You still have to be extremely careful. This is 60 volts each unit that we're talking about, but nonetheless safer than doing sort of, open bus bars and things. So 5 modules, 60 volts each. I mean, it's actually slightly more than that. Gets me up to about 328 volts fully charged. And these are going to be secured. If I pull one of these out, these are going to be secured into the pack, forgive the mess in the background, by M6 threaded rods going through these holes here. One there, there's another one down there you can't see because of the BMS wiring. Maybe I can if I go down. There you go. So these sort of 6.5mm holes, 6.5, 7mm holes. M6 threaded rod is going to go all the way through the pack with some 3D printed spacers, PETG spacers between them. I have actually printed a load of spacers, but I printed them all the same size and they may or may not work. So I'll have to see, I may need to print some more that are slightly different sizes because of the layout. I sort of assume that all of these would be oriented the same way, but of course they're not if you want to make use of the OEM cables. And if you can use the OEM cables, then you very much should. So let me grab the cables out and I'll show you how that's all going to be wired up. So I've just roughly laid out the high voltage cables here. You can see you've got these sort of short ones, slightly less short ones. These will go between my pairs like this, or actually like that, coupling those up. And then some longer ones around the back to connect the pairs together that will go, get my fingers in the right place, go around here, hook that one up, comes down here, back into a pair, then round there, out of there, into here. And then the really long ones, which go from here all the way around, and will actually come out of the pack. So the plan is, when the lids, there won't be, there'll be a BMS module tucked away in here probably, which I'll show you in actually no, I won't show you because I haven't got one here actually, but this is a simp BMS module, a slightly customized version thereof, which plugs into these original BMS, secondary BMS units for each module, and monitors and balances those. So I should have space to tuck one of those in here somewhere, alongside the cables, maybe down here at the front, something like that. And what space I need for that will determine how far or back or forward I locate these modules. You'll see that actually if I come around this side, actually I've left quite a lot of room, front and back, in order for me to orient those the way I want. They'll probably go straight down the middle, but I wanted to have plenty of space for the cables. I didn't want the cables pushing up against the lid and rubbing, so lots of space to keep that all neat and tidy. Obviously you've got the BMS wiring to go in here as well, so BMS cables plug in here, 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 and then come back to the BMS. They communicate over CAN bus. You just provide them with a 5-volt supply, and you can get all your data out of that. That's pretty standard part of simp BMS now, which is cool. And then I'll have an external comms, so 12 volts coming in here to feed the BMS, an external CAN coming off the BMS, as well as a couple of other signal lines probably. I may actually put the BMS up in the what's going to go up here, which I'll show you now. So 2 things going to sit on top of this battery box, and if you've been watching early videos, you'll know part of the reason for building a new one is that this is much shorter. Part of the reason for building a new one, actually reorienting the batteries from sitting flat to sitting on their sides. This one saves me an awful lot of height in the front of the engine bay, which means I can move this, which is the charger from a Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. I can move that from at the back alongside the inverter down to the front. And this, which is my high voltage junction box. Now, this is actually a box I originally bought and wired up for my first build, but then didn't end up using because I replaced it with one of these, which is a BMW S box. This is effectively a high voltage junction box that sits inside the original BMW PHEV pack. Neat and compact, and easily modified, so you could basically reuse these pins to control the contactors and the pre-charge relay inside, which is what I did. It gave me a nice compact, more compact battery pack. I'm now making it more compact still, but I am going to be putting a second battery pack in into the car fairly soon. I say fairly soon, when I get these other projects finished. And so I wanted to go back to my original big chunky high voltage junction box with some chunkier contactors, pre-charge relays, fuse, etc. And now this was all wired up. You can see actually got the cables here that I've been using for testing. This was all wired up, ready to go straight back in, but I wasn't happy with how it's done. So if I take this lid off now, you'll just find a stack of parts in there. I'll post some video to show what it did look like alongside this, so you can see what it looked like the first time around I did it. But there were some issues. I didn't like some of the choice of cabling, like this solid core twisted pair, which I was using for CAN bus on my shunt. This provides data via CAN bus on, well, current, etc. Current primarily, going through the system. I was using a much bigger fuse than this one, which I've harvested from a spare S box. I'll probably switch to this nice compact thing. And just the layout wasn't very good, particularly considering I've now got to bring in 2 sets of battery inputs. So I've got to bring in an external battery pack. A rear battery pack will be coming in here somewhere, and then from down below will be coming in the BMW connectors from the modules just below. So those will be the first ones. In order to bring those in, what have I just done with that S box? It's down here. I'm going to reuse these connectors here. You can actually remove this piece of the S box and keep these connectors. So I only need the inputs, but I can make it quite neat. So I'll just have these two here. So I'll have cables coming up from below through holes into the high voltage junction box. There'll be this piece in there. The cables will just plug in, and on the other side there's just screw terminals. So I'll go from there to screw terminals, and there it will join up with the inputs from my rear battery box here, and then through the contactors, pre-charge relay, fuse, shunt, and then it'll be out here partly to the charger. So this wire actually, oh hello, wrong way, you're seeing all the mess in here. I'd like to tell you that my workshop's usually really tidy and it's just a mess at the moment, but it would be a lie. It's always a mess, it's just more of a mess at the moment. So this connects in here, that's the high voltage connection for the charger back to the batteries. And then obviously it needs to go off to the inverter as well. So we'll probably come out here and go off to the motor, which, you know, ideally it would come in the back and go back out the back, because the inverter is going to be up here somewhere. But I'm not sure how to make that work, so we'll have to sort of come out here and go round a corner and back out, unless I can work out something else, unless I can work out a way to get... Oh, I'm going the wrong way with it. Hello, pan. You're seeing lots of other projects here. Unless I can work out a way to go in and come out. Maybe we just need to drill an extra hole. We shall see. Maybe we could come out over here somewhere. Lots of layout to do. And I've actually been scanning, well, not scanning because I don't have a 3D scanner. I've actually been finding 3D models for all the components for this. It's now refusing to pan. There we go. I've actually been finding models of all the 3D components, so those contactors, etc., the shunt to put into CAD, so I can lay this out properly and work out how it's all going to fit and do it all nice and neat and tidily. So that's that. One thing I will point out is a problem with the construction of the battery box as it is. As you'll see, the lid doesn't really fit here. This frame is fractionally too wide, or the lid is fractionally too narrow. I got it bent up externally by a third party. I'm going to suggest they got it perfectly right, and I didn't get it perfectly right in terms of making this frame. So some fettling to do there so that this will fit down. And at the moment there's nothing to secure it. Whoa. Having a few struggles with my gimbal here. Right, and at the moment there's nothing. Hello. At the moment there's nothing to secure it down here. It's obviously not quite straight either. But there'll be some riv nuts going here to hold that tight, and same on the other side. Probably 3 along the bottom should do it. Maybe 4, we shall see, to secure that all down once I've done all the fettling, and maybe get it all powder coated at some point as well. You can see my new rear motor from the Mitsubishi Outlander poking out down there, which is what's going to be going in to the Z300 once we've got our adapt plate and new coupler made. So that's where I'm at in terms of battery box. Still a lot of work to do. Quite pleased with the design. I know there's been some feedback that it's going to be quite heavy. And that's true relative to sort of folded aluminium or even just folded steel. The flip side is it's at a level that I'm comfortable at in terms of my capabilities. It's going to be nice and easy to mount. I may go down to folded steel, folded alley at some point down the line, maybe with the EVGT. But for now, I'm quite happy with this. I think it's a big step up on what I've got now. It's certainly a lot lighter and a lot more compact than what I've got now. So it will do. And that is that, I think. So that's all from me, from K9, the Cyberman and Bumblebee for today. Maybe at some point in a future video I'll show those talking. Not made massive progress, as you can see, but I am working on it. It's getting there. I know what I need to do to get that battery box finished. And, you know, I could make a very rough and tumble version of it. Rough and tumble's the wrong word, but a very rough version of it, get it working very, very quickly. But the whole point of this is it's going to look good. It's going to be neat and tidy. So next steps on a dry day is get out there, mark out, drill out and weld up the mounting tabs so that I can run that M6 threaded bar through to hold the batteries. I'm going to put some reinforcement strips in there as well, so it's not just off that sheet steel. It's going to be off some 4mm bar to make that all nice and strong. And you know, get it all wired up, and then I've got to lay out the high voltage junction box, get that all sorted out. Everything's going to be mounted down to a metal plate in there. I'll have to re-drill the one I've already used. They're blimmin' expensive. I don't really want to buy a new one just yet. I suppose I could get one just cut out of sheet steel, but again, I've got one there. Just needs re-drilling. I may be able to reuse some of the old layout, some of the holes, certainly reuse all the parts, redo the connector, change some of those wires I don't like, and generally just make that layout really, really neat so that it's ready for the rear battery pack when that's ready to go. And yeah, and also obviously so that it connects up to the charger neatly, and generally just sort of trying to get the wiring compact, as short as it can be, really nice and simple, hide as much away as possible. So that's that. Only a short video, just a quick update because it's been a while since I did that battery box video. I wanted to show that things are still progressing on that front. Lots more to come in the next couple of weeks. I've got 2 full days pretty much at the garage coming up, so I should be making lots of progress on the EVGT, which is obviously also progress on the Z300S, because it's going to be both the development mule for the rear motor, which you just saw, the bigger motor, which the Z300S so desperately needs, but also the development mule for the Tribute Automotive body kit, which is, I don't know, must be less than a month away now with a bit of luck. So, you know, both projects are kind of aligned at the moment, and it's just about time. So last week had to do some work, make some money. This week, well, still got to do some work and make some money, but I've managed to carve out a couple of days I can spend up there. And maybe if we don't get the engine out, get close to getting the engine out. And I want to do some tidying while I'm there as well, get some of the shelves sorted out, get some of the tools sorted out, just start to make it a really usable space, because I've just been trying to get as much car stuff done as possible while I've been there before. You know, now I'd like to start to make it a really nice space to work in. Need to get some more light in there and things like that. So thanks for watching. If you do enjoy these, please do like and subscribe. If you want to follow both of these projects, the upgrades to my existing EV swapped Z3 and its body transformation to a Tribute Automotive Z300S, and then the EVGT, my more long-term project, which I'll be showing some new parts for this week. I've got some more parts have arrived, ready to go in, so you'll see the direction that's going in. And yeah, you know, the whole build of an EV swapped retro hot rod thing. I don't really know what to call it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe. I'll post some links up above and down below for the subscribe link and the playlist. And that's it. Catch you next time. Bye bye.